Hello everyone, welcome to the 80 Literary and Jury Charge portion of the class. We're going to start off with some fun facts that have to do with food and drinks. This is the second part of it. All right, here we go. The age recorded on whiskey bottles refers to the number of years it is aged prior to being bottled. Once in the bottle, whiskey does not improve. Honey is the only food that does not spoil. Honey found in the tombs of Egyptian pharaohs has been tasted by archaeologists and found edible. According to Institutions and Volume Feeding Magazine, a trade journal for fast food chain operators, the single most popular entree in American restaurants is the hamburger. Right behind the hamburger are, in order, fried chicken, roast beef, spaghetti, turkey, baked ham, fried shrimp, and beef stew. Haggis, a traditional Scottish dish, is made from the lungs, heart, and liver of a sheep, chopped with onions, seasonings, suet, and oatmeal, and then boiled in a bag made from the sheep's stomach. More than 1/3 of the world's commercial supply of pineapples comes from Hawaii. The strongest any liquor can be is 190 proof. This means the beverage is a little more than 97% alcohol. Argentinians eat more meat than any other nation in the world, an average of 10 ounces per person per day. The herring is the most widely eaten fish in the world. Nutritionally, its fuel value is equal to that of a beef steak. The custom of serving a slice of lemon with fish dates back to the Middle Ages. The lemon was originally intended for remedial purposes rather than to flavor the fish. It was believed that if a person accidentally swallowed a fish bone, the lemon juice would dissolve it. Americans spend $600 million a year on hot dogs. They consume enough of them each year to form a chain stretching from the earth to the moon and back again. The average American eats 40 hot dogs a year. But the hot dog is not an American invention. It was first produced in Germany in 1852 by a group of butchers in Frankfurt. There are professional tea tasters as well as wine tasters. In Wilton, Maine, there is a cannery that imports and cans only dandelion greens. A hard-boiled egg will spin. An uncooked or soft-boiled egg will not. Interesting. All right. Moving into some closing arguments. This is a continuation from what we started. Here we go. And you're going to hear ladies and gentlemen, which is L long AJ. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is Orlando Hunt. Did he tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Did he, Orlando Hunt, convince you beyond a reasonable doubt? Was the quality of his testimony sufficient and enough to convince you beyond a reasonable doubt? Ladies and gentlemen, Orlando Hunt lied to you, and it was obvious. He lied to you because he had a reason to lie. He didn't want to be charged in the death of Perry Coder. His choice was he was to become a defendant in a murder case, or he was to become an eyewitness. I'll either use you or do you. You will either be an eyewitness or a defendant. Go ahead, Buck, and charge him. And Hunt said, and only then, oh, no, no, no. Let me think about this. Let me tell you. Let me tell you now. Yes, you're right. It was Crandall McKinnon. And let me tell you the details. But he told him wrong. He lied to you, and he cannot be trusted. Then there was Gina Lee. It was Gina Lee's turn, and she was a sad case. Her life has been taken over, had been taken over long before by drugs, long before January 4, 2014, when Perry Coder was shot. She had long surrendered her life to crack cocaine. Her life and her mind had been, by that time, controlled. From the trial transcript, Ms. Lee, you realize you've told different stories. Is that because primarily of the drugs that you were using at the time? She answered, yes. Do the drugs mess up your mind? She said, yes, they do. How far back does your drug usage go? She said, a couple of years. Would you say you had been a heavy user or a user of crack cocaine? She said, a heavy user. I used every day, 24 hours a day. Is it your main focus of life if you're using drugs? She said, yes, it was. You're constantly smoking or using the crack cocaine? Yes. What does it do to you? It just makes me high. And when you say that, if you could tell us, what does that mean? Well, sometimes I hear things. Sometimes I see things that is really not there. Is that the drugs? Yes, it is the drugs. Taking over your body? Yes. And taking over your mind? Yes. So prolonged use of crack cocaine messes your mind up the more you use it? And she said yes. Ladies and gentlemen, she was high every day during this time. And she told you that. She told you she was even high during the time she was interviewed by Detective Caldwell. She told us that she had a hard time remembering things. Her ability to remember the time sequences and time frames was non-existent. As Orlando Hunt was a liar, Gina Lee is simply, I believe, a sad and pathetic case of someone whose mind has been messed up with drugs, messing with her mind, as she said, and she cannot be relied upon in a matter as serious as this. She said that on the night of January 4, she was high at the time and that she could not remember accurately. She said that she saw Popeye and Poonie at the motel drive into the parking lot. But remember this, she said it was earlier in the afternoon. And that's a quote, earlier in the afternoon, that they did not return in the evening hours. It was earlier in the day, but when she was in the field later, she heard a shot and she saw shadows. Remember, she didn't know the word silhouettes, but we said shadows, and she remembered that, and she then assumed, and that was her word. It was Popeye and Poonie Hunt because she had seen them earlier, but she saw two people running southbound, not northbound. And she said, I probably saw two people running in the back of the motel, but I don't remember. I probably saw two people running. You saw only the silhouettes on these two people? She asked, what does that mean? That means shadows of these two people. Yes, Okay, so you are able to make out and determine who it was that you saw running down southwards behind the motel? Well, I figured the way I seen the people come, I figured it was Popeye and Poonie. Okay? And that's what I want to ask you about, not what you figured or assumed. All right, so we'll stop there. There's more to that, but we're going to move on. All right. I have some interesting facts about Bodie. Okay, and those of you that have never heard of Bodie, that's a state historical park in California, right on the border of California and Nevada. And it's an old ghost town. So we're going to read a little bit about that. Here we go. Mining in the district progressed at a slow pace until 1875, when a mine collapse revealed a rich body of gold ore. Word spread fast, and Bodie's boom town days began, while period accounts estimated Bodie's population as high as 8,000, and later writers claimed 10,000. Census records do not reflect these high numbers. Bodie's peak population probably ranged from 7,000 to 8,000. During 1877 to 1881, Bodie's mining district included 30 different mines and 9 stamp mills. Along with miners and merchants, Bodie attracted a rougher element who gave the town a reputation for bad men and wild times. There were more than 60 saloons, many near Bonanza Street prostitutes' cribs, and opium dens in Chinatown. The boom years were over quickly as unsuccessful mines began closing. The population dropped quickly and continued to dwindle into the 1900s. Mining continued until 1942. The family of Bodie's last major landowner, James S. Kane, hired caretakers to watch over the town and protect it from looters and vandals. In 1962, California State Parks purchased the town to preserve the historic buildings and artifacts. When you visit Bodie today, you experience slices from the town's different time periods. You will see houses that were built in the 1870s, the Standard Mill from the late 1890s, gas pumps from the 1920s, and the schoolhouse that was used until 1942. Some buildings are named according to past functions, others for the people who lived there. whether the first, the last, or most notable. Enjoy Bodie's past and visit our museum for information about tours and talks. It is a neat place to go visit if you haven't been there. All right, well, that concludes our 80 literary and jury charge. Have a great day.